2020 has been quite a year, but outside the obvious things, it's also been notable for the barrage of streaming services that have changed how we consume TV shows and movies online. And arguably the biggest is the new Chromecast with Google TV, so let's dive in. Thanks for watching 9to5 Google here on YouTube. Remember to thumbs up, hit subscribe, and then tap the bell icon to be among the first to watch our upcoming videos. Google's Chromecast lineup has been around since 2013, but the first 4 versions of the product were entirely different from this latest model. Those devices were designed to be a bare bones way to get content on your TV. The OS was controlled entirely from smartphones and tablets, no remote, no interface, no nothing. The new Chromecast runs on top of Google TV, which brings native apps and a physical remote and new hardware too. Before we dive into the new software though, let's briefly touch on the physical hardware. Like previous models, this is a simple HDMI dongle. It has a built-in plug to go to your TV and just a single port, a USB-C port that delivers power and optionally Ethernet. That port can also be used as a USB-C hub, so you can access storage devices, webcams, and more of that on top too. Inside the shell of the new Chromecast, there's an Logic chip and 2GB of RAM. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it is enough to run comfortably the platform and most apps too. Notably, we've also noticed that this latest Chromecast model also doesn't get quite as hot as the Chromecast Ultra did. The size of this new model is certainly bigger than previous models, but considering those new internals and the fact it hangs around the back of your TV, this isn't too much of an issue from the outset. A nice touch this year though is the added colour. Even though the device itself is likely to be hidden behind your TV, you've got a dongle and remote colour combination that is typically Google, meaning cute and pastel toned. Speaking of that remote, let's talk about what is definitely the biggest feature of Google's latest streaming dongle. Since the beginning of the Chromecast, one of the biggest requests from a lot of users has been a physical remote. On this new model, we finally get that thanks to the Android-based operating system. The remote itself and its curved shape also makes it comfortable to hold. You use the D-pad for navigation, but in practice it feels incredibly natural even though it is a little bit high placed on the remote itself. The same goes for those volume buttons. Below the D-pad there are 8 buttons to choose from, 2 of those are for navigation, 1 dedicated to muting audio, another for the Google Assistant, and shortcuts for Netflix and YouTube. Finally, there are also power and input buttons for you to choose from. The buttons on this new Chromecast voice remote aren't super clicky, but rather have a more muffled click feel. We'd describe them as comfortable and consistent, but not particularly satisfying. Still, it is a lot better than traditional rubber remotes. Another big bonus of this new remote is that it also is an IR blaster. This means that it can be used to control not only the dongle, but in theory your entire home entertainment center, provided you have a major setup. The remote runs on AAA batteries too, which are included in the box and match the colour of the remote, which is a nice yet kind of pointless touch. Google also said it went with traditional AAAs because it's easier to swap them out when the time comes. So that is the hardware out of the way. Let's talk about software, as the new Chromecast also comes with Google's latest vision for the living room, and that is Google TV. This is not a brand new platform per se, but rather an evolution of Android TV, the underloved but excellent offering Google has had since 2014. This brings with it all of the 6,500 plus apps that have been built for Android TV over the past several years, but also a super flexible and powerful base operating system. You can install apps from the Play Store that include media apps and some games, and you can even sideload apps to run things like Zoom or Stadia on your TV. Right now there are quite literally dozens of different streaming services available to consumers, and it seems like more are appearing constantly. Where in the past simply opening Netflix or Hulu could access just about every TV show or movie available, you now need Disney+, Peacock, HBO Max and CBS All Access to get the same stuff. Because of that, it's pretty easy to lose track of where certain shows or movies are available. Google TV helps solve that in a couple of ways. First, searching for content on Google TV shows you everywhere it's available. That might include Google's own store, formerly known as Play Movies, but it also can include Netflix, HBO Max, Disney+, and many of the other services available. Through our time using the Chromecast so far, we've actually found this extremely useful and less confusing. The second way that Google TV helps you find your way through all of these content sources is by putting your watch list in a single, easy to access location. Let's say a new movie or show catches your attention. Well, you can add it to your watch list directly from the Chromecast or via Google search on the web. In both cases, that means you'll see that piece of content added to your list and easier to access from your TV. One of the only real big problems we've spotted so far with Google TV is the customizability or lack thereof. Where Android TV offered users the ability to move rows around as they please, Google TV's home screen offers none of that whatsoever. That's somewhat understandable on the main For You page, but it would be useful to be able to reorganize the library tab for better access to your most important and accessed services. There's also no Play Store app. You can access it through a voice command, but the Apps tab is the main way to find and download new apps. For us, the Play Store felt more natural, easier to understand, plus it better highlighted games and didn't feel quite as repetitive. On the other hand though, this experience can be great. If you're a YouTube TV subscriber in an eligible region, the live channel guide is built right into Google TV's home screen. Just go to the live tab and you'll see every channel including what's on next. Your DVR is also integrated into the home screen, and you'll find that live content can appear in the For You primary tab too. Well, on top of that, with Google TV, classic Chromecast owners will be happy to know that a lot of legacy features have been ported over here. The ambient slideshows that comprised of art, landscapes, or your own Google Photos library work just the same here, and you can quickly access it with a quick shortcut under the profile menu. Casting, of course, continues to work for mirroring an Android phone's screen or using apps with controls from your phone. Google even made sure that audio groups work on this new hardware, meaning the Chromecast can use your TV speakers or soundbar alongside assistant speakers throughout your home. Overall, we have to say Google TV feels very much like a win. It has most of the advantages of the classic Android TV, a modern design, the ability to sideload apps, a growing Google Play Store library, and brings new features along with it. Although it's not perfect, it can understandably be great for some people who are unhappy with content-heavy design. But in 2020, this is a streaming platform that a lot of people we think will be extremely happy with. As for performance, it's probably what we'd call adequate. It's not impressive by any measurement, but it runs relatively smoothly without any major hiccups. Occasionally though, you might see the menu freeze up as you scroll, but it usually recovers pretty much immediately. Sometimes apps are slow to load up, but that's often resolved in mere seconds. Where you may see a bottleneck in the Chromecast performance though is at the Google TV home screen. For one, it's just a heavy piece of software that can sometimes take a moment to load, although it also seems to be heavily network dependent. So in essence, the 2020 Chromecast with Google TV is no doubt the culmination of nearly a decade of trying to fully enter the living room, and it's easily Google's best attempt to date. The hardware hits the right price point for mass appeal, and the software backing it gets a lot right. No web-based streaming system is perfect, but when weighing everything out, this latest Chromecast might perhaps be the best option on the market right now for most people out there. At $49.99, it feels like a no-brainer, and considering the entire package, it would be hard to find someone disappointed in what's offered up here, and it proves to be a truly solid upgrade over previous generations. So that's the 2020 Chromecast with Google TV. Have you managed to pick one up, or are you enjoying the new design and interface? Got any questions? Be sure to pop them down below the video and we'll do our utmost to get back to as many of you as possible. But as always, this is Damien with 95 Google saying thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.